Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stream. We're running a little bit late today on getting everything running, and that's because it has been a crazy week for me. A very crazy week. A lot of work, a lot of family stuff, a lot of new cats, single new cat. It's worth 5. And now that we're returning, we have a prototype that still needs to be hotfixed, and a lot of stuff that we're yet to add. So I had to take a minute to get to the whiteboard and put all of our stuff together. So yeah, this is Howdy the Cat. Welcome onto the stream. Oh man, dudes. So just for context though, I just got out of work and I had no idea what we're going to be doing today. Until I have like a whiteboard in my room though, so I just jotted down a bunch of stuff. So now I have a vague idea of what we're doing, which is significantly better than no idea, let me tell you. Because when I have no idea what I'm doing, I just play Slay the Spire or something. And don't get me wrong, that's fun, but like, that's not how you make a game, you know? But yes, I have a new cat, and it is adorable. And very concerning at times. Whenever I'm on stream and whatever, it will hop onto the counter and start messing around with all this stuff, and it's concerning. By the way, Woody Theory is possible. I just saw Toy Story 5. No, I did not see Toby anywhere. I'm sorry to say it. I'm sorry to say it. But I don't know the theory exactly, though. Again, I'm not a Delta streamer. Don't ask me to know these things. Although Deltarune Chapter 4 is coming out really soon. Not 4, Chapter 5. What am I talking about? Yes, coffee. I'm so excited though for Deltarune Chapter 5. It's gonna be good. So, but yeah, I'm thinking for the stream today, we're just gonna keep things really simple. Go through all of the bugs that we ran into and see if we can fix them enough to create a hotfix. I'm also very excited. It's gonna be good. So the hotfix is basically just going to take all of the ridiculous problems that we ran into within 5 minutes of posting the prototype, and then we'll hopefully have it in a semi-functional state. So we'll see. So the first thing that I did in fact fix is we no longer have the weird orange thing fall down on you. Have I told you I'm going to delete my watch history? Yeah, that's a good idea, especially for the new chapter. You're probably going to find a lot there if you keep your history down, but the orange block is fixed. The tree line is not fixed, so we need to get some invisible walls going. And these invisible walls basically just prevent the player from going too far out of bounds. The trees do that a little bit, but we want there to be a more effective way. Let's see what this looks like. That looks good. And now let's go take a look around. The colliders are messed up with the manor, and it is a problem, unfortunately. So I'm not exactly sure how we're going to fix that, though, without setting up a bunch of weird colliders. And colliders, they're like little shapes that represent the places you could run into on an object. If I use that word, it sounds weird, whatever. That's what I'm talking about. So can't wait for the Meese Lord. I'm going to pitch for it. I'm going to tell Musical Papyrus about it, because seriously, that moose has given me so many problems in the past. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what to do with it. It's wild. But, gosh. We have a lot of work for the colliders on the manor, that's for sure. I think, though, that we can make it pretty quick. So the first big collider that we're going to add to the manor to make sure that you can't walk through it, right? Because we've had a lot of people walking through the walls and whatever. We're going to create like a square that reaches like right across here at the very start as like our baseline. And so in order to do that, we have to give the object just a box collider, apparently. And the box collider is just a square-shaped collider. The walls in this game are like Donkey Kong 64. I'm scared to ask what they're like in Donkey Kong 64 because I think I know the answer. Might just grab a video of that and then put it onto a recap video at some point. I love the idea of throwing a lot of memes into a recap of the development process. Alright, so this will stop the players from like running into these walls or like getting clipped into the walls of the manor, which is huge. But we also still have these. So let's go ahead and duplicate this, and we're just going to shift the colliders over here. So this will be on either side of the stairs, I'm going to say. If we put this down here. I'm totally going to disappear when the Deltarune Chapter 5 comes out, though. I'm ashamed to say it, but, like, I have my priorities straight. As Steve Retrospective said, the walls in this game are more of a suggestion or something. Unfortunately so. And it's not even Donkey Kong Bonanza, where the walls are just, like, totally optional. No, I just straight up did not design the walls well enough. So this collider, it's going to be the same thing as the collider over here. So we're just going to copy it and move it here. And we're going to make bushes, the colliders for the bushes now. And the boxes are supposed to line up somewhat with the bushes right here. And they don't have to be perfect. In fact, it actually feels better if it's not perfect. Because if I were to create it, colliders everywhere on this tree, for example, and the player ran into the top part, well, realistically, if the player walks through the top part here, they should go behind the tree. They shouldn't collide into the tree. It should only be at the base. So that's why it feels better when you have those colliders just over part of the bush instead of the whole bush. But I don't know if that works here, though. We're just going to test really quick. Don't care about this cutscene. Don't care about the cutscene. So we can't go here. This is a little bit of a weird thing here. We can cut around this. So I think I know what the problem is, though. We have invisible walls that are trying to do the same job here. Yeah, I'm going to beat Chapter 5, not like speedrun, but try and play it as much as possible. Honestly, that makes sense. Because Toby packs his games full of stuff. I've missed out on so much by just not expecting more than he put there, I guess is the best way of putting it. He is great with the Easter eggs. I really like that, actually. The Easter eggs are peak. And now I'm going to steal this bush collider and cheat by putting it with the other one. Because I'm lazy and I don't want to do the same thing 20 times over. Final thing. With the manor, we see all of these colliders down here. We have... Everything looks good except for the bushes and this weird part here. The tower. I don't even know. I don't want to know how we're going to make a collider for this thing. This looks ugly. Ugh. Well, the first thing we're going to do is disable this tree because it's in the way. And we want... What kind of a shape works with this? I'm going to vote that we... Let's just mess around with a couple of different shapes here. So we look up collider. There's capsule, which is like circular. I can't see that working. Edge, which is custom, which kind of works. Polygon. For you? Yes, this might make sense. And then we just want the edges to match as much to where the player should not be able to walk. Sorry about that. Had a bunch of people run in on me. But yes, I think that works shape-wise. One thing I hope Chapter 5 has is a desk design. That would probably be good, although I like some of the fan renditions so far. I don't know. So we have almost every collider finished. I think we just got to take care of the bushes and we're done. Which I will be happy to be done with this part. Although we're going to have to do the same thing for all of the walls inside of the manor. They have arguably funnier problems with them, considering the fact that they literally reach into the void. But at the same time, not exactly sure what the problems are with it, because like with this it's just shapes and whatever, but like ideally the walls should be working. All right, so we're gonna want this circle to go over underneath the trees, although I think we're not actually going to use a circle. We're going to use a capsule because the capsule is kind of like more oval shaped, whereas the circle is perfect, which doesn't make sense for a flat 2D world. The void is a central part of the game's development. I don't know about that yet. I don't know. I could see it, but at the same time, I don't know, because we don't want to go too meta. If it gets too connected to the development process outside of like small inside jokes, then it would kind of breach the point of, because like I could see the moose, because I could fit a moose into a fantasy context. It makes sense. The void, although I guess that Nostal kind of popped in from the void. Oh, it is a part of our development lore for sure. Development lore. That would be a really funny thing to start making videos about, the development lore of the game. As if it's like some epic saga going on in the background. I don't know. But although Nostal did have a thing where he like vanished out from the void. Which, sorry about that, was... What did he do? Well, okay, it's in one of the videos from Creator of Code. He had a video of the secondary character, Nostal, just vanishing, appearing out of nowhere. And he said that it was from the void, which, I mean, maybe not literally, but like, it was pretty funny. I don't know. I'm not ready to accept it as canon yet, but I don't know. So we're going to drag this over here. And every single one of the bushes should now have a collider. So we're just going to mess around with the edges of the manor and double check that. And I'm going to go silent development for a minute, just because there's background activity going on. Alright, I am back. But yeah, one thing though, what I do like the desk designs, but I do think she's more Carol colored, unlike the brown interpretation most make. Right, more like I'm totally spacing on this. I know what her name is. What is this? More like Noelle. Noelle's... Right now, the interpretation is more like Noelle's dad than her mom, Carol. But you would argue that maybe it would be more Carolish. But I mean, if Noelle is kind of like resembling a... I don't know. Possibly. We're still having the problem with the thing. I mean, you. Oh gosh. So we need the player to cut off until like right about here. So let's go ahead and fix that really quick. This is tedious. I don't like working with the colliders as much as I prefer, like, I don't know. Noelle takes a good bit from her dad to me, so I think Des would take from Carol. Yeah. I honestly want to hear more about Azriel personally, though. I feel like he's been such an important character in a lot of the background lore, but we just haven't seen him very much, and a little bit of elaboration on who he is will help a lot with, like, other characters, too. So, yeah, I don't know. He is the best Undertale character, objectively. I really... Okay, like, you're allowed to like other people for sure, but it's just like... His redemption... Everything from his redemption arc, too, just like... His character design is so good. Okay, so we do have a slight issue with the manor. Which is that these bushes, I can walk in front of them and that makes sense, but I can't walk behind them. I'm literally incapable of it. Without standing on top somehow, which breaks the illusion of depth. Which, as you might imagine, is bad. So, I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do about that, though. I could have Discord apps and ask for a new version of the bush here. But I don't know. Honestly, I might just need to take a break from all of this when Deltarune comes out and do a couple of streams on that. That might be fun. So I'm not like burned out, but at this point a lot of what we're doing is just fixing problems in systems we've already made, and that's not a great feeling. Which, don't get me wrong, it's good that they're being fixed, but it's tedious rather than creative, I guess is the best way of putting it. This is going to be another wall collider here too. So, taking a break from productivity streams and doing some fun streams might just be awesome, to be honest. And if Des was Carol colored, it would kind of help with the theory that she wanted to be human, as beige, or whatever you'd call that color, is pretty close to the skin color to me. I mean, it's an interesting idea. Although, I don't know much about the lore of humans in Deltarune, though, because, like, it takes a lot from Undertale, but, like, if you think... Are humans common, is the question? Are they uncommon? Is humanity treated as just, like, one subsect of monster kind? Because, like... And why would Noelle want to be human, and does she get to choose her colors? I don't know. Because it's like, we don't get any context for humanity except for Chris alone. That's always been so confusing for me. I don't know. So let's just double check again with our colliders. We walk up here, it makes sense. We walk up here, it makes sense. We walk up here, it makes sense. Except for the bushes, which we will eventually deal with. We walk up there, that makes no sense whatsoever. Out of it. The roof. Okay, so there's a couple things we just objectively can't fix until we get new sprites, which is okay, I think. But I'm just gonna call the colliders out here good for now. And another thing, if we go into the woods, work through the tree line, there is a certain point where we will be forced to stop. Which is another solution to another bug that we had reported. If you played through Chapter 5, I wouldn't watch it unless I beat you, but I would definitely watch after. Yeah, that's valid. Honestly, that's the problem with doing runs and streams of stuff that just came out. Spoilers, and especially with Toby Fox's stuff, spoilers are huge. Beware of Moose and Mafia. That would be pretty funny to have the Moose be like the bad guys of the first world. Because it's going to be a forest. We start out here with the manor. And after the manor, you transfer into a forest. Actually, out of curiosity, do I have lighter on this computer? I kind of want to try something here. Do we... Hold on. Yes, we do. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit greedy here. We're going to try something here. Sorry about that. We're back in. What I was saying is that I'm going to try something with the player that's not strictly necessary, but might be cool. Because the player doesn't really interact with light very much right now. If he stands in light, he looks bright overall. And nosed out at the same time too. I want to try something with the player though to see if I can change the way he looks in light. But the mansion is just a bunch of Meeson stacked together. No, that is not the case. I'm sorry, my friend, but your Deltarune theories have poisoned your brain. I'm afraid. Alright, so we're going to grab this guy, and we want to see where he is in the... where is it? Show and explore. There we go. And now, I get to do some scary stuff. We don't want to do that. Detective 606 idle. We're going to copy this path. Assuming I can find it. Copy address. Let's go here. Idle. Playing through 3 and 4 kind of changed the way I think about for the better. How do you mean? The next thing we're going to need to do is to specify that this is a pixel sprite. So we're going to want a normal map, pixelated. Cool. We're going to export this to the original directory. Export. And now we have a normal map. Let's try this. So, how did chapter 3 and 4, in terms of theorization and retrospective visioning, I struggled to pronounce it, that's my bad. But yeah, no, the thing about Deltarune is it definitely builds to something new and different and unexpected quite a bit, especially with the prophecies towards the end and Susie's experiences with that. I left my cat in my room, and I told him not to come out because he's trying to interrupt the stream and like get on my counters and like make me pet him and stuff. And wouldn't you know it, he's totally ignoring me. He escaped my room, and now there's nothing I could do to get him back in because I'm in the middle of everything. And he knows I'm too much of a softie to get rid of him. Come on, where are you? There you are. And what do we name a normal map secondary text form? Alright, so Since we were watching the Wingfeather Saga recently and today, I think I figured out what ideas it's trying to convey. How to get rid of a cat. The Wingfeather Saga is peak. The getting rid of a cat confuses me. I don't know what's up with that. But what is this? This is a note. Step 1, become an absolute monster. That's a pretty good way to start. I would agree. I would agree with this statement. Although the cat would probably just look at you lazily and like be like, I don't know, he'd find some way to make you. Oh, I'm so happy with these paths. The cat would probably not be super interested until you got in its space, and then it would get all mad at you. Sorry, you were talking about cat. Yes, I was talking about the cat. So it's hard because like sometimes my mind gets dragged between what I'm doing here on the screen and what I'm doing on the chat. And the hardest part about transitioning to streaming is learning to walk that line of actively engaging with people in the chat and also focusing on what I'm doing in here. And like it stares into your eyes until you give him cuddles. That's actually exactly what this is. I'm not his, or it's, he's not living in my house. I'm living in his house, and I must give him cuddles. Gato. Gato. I'm definitely not petting him behind the screen as we speak. Alright, I think the best way to test what I just did is to go into the manor. So let's just try this. For the lights, by default, I'm going to want them to... Let's actually just edit from the source. This seems like a good idea. We're going to want them to do normal maps. Quality, fast, distance 3. And if we do this... Perhaps. Well, there's no like really powerful light sources though, so we're not going to see very many effects. Back to the Wingfeather Saga. We finished the 3rd season. I believe I found out what it's all about. Change. Well, there's sure a lot of it with the Iggybees going about and having everything kind of twist and turn around them, so to speak. The cat is now standing in front of the screen again. I don't know why he does it. It's so weird. Like, he doesn't stand to gain anything. He's just doing it for the sake of doing it. And now he's walking on my keyboard. That's not gonna work, my friend. I have to figure out a long-term solution for this cat, because change of situation. Yeah. Change of self. There is a lot of it. Yeah, it's a powerful message, even if it's sometimes hard. I know that I experienced a lot of change in my life before too, and it's just like something you're never quite prepared for, but the Wingfeather Saga captures it really well. Similarly, my cat is now getting a change of location due to his persistent desire to mess around with my keyboard. You absolute goober. The biggest thing that proves it to me is the fangs. Dang. How far are you? Because I've seen everything up till the latest season. So, like, I don't know how much I'm able to talk about without it being spoilers. Dang it! There's another wall. So close. We almost fixed it, guys. We're going to go and try this. Well, the fangs definitely do undergo a lot of change, though. Season 3. Alright, alright. Book through. Yeah. See, I've done the books and I've also tried the TV show, so but the books were a long time ago. We used to read them with my dad a while back. So they're both really charming. I like that. Okay, let's go. We have the walls fixed. Let's go to the manor floor 2 and fix the walls here too. And then we could call it quits. Yeah, to me, the fangs kind of represent all the ideas I'm getting. Yeah. Solid. Andrew Peterson in his storytelling definitely captures a lot of that theme of change. I have finally given in and allowed the cat to snuggle with me. He is now licking my fingers. This is literally... Gato. I think I needed this cat for my season of life. I've been going through a lot of changes too, and a lot of them are super hard, so being able to have someone to cuddle with has been very nice. I think the biggest thing overall message-wise is what it doesn't mean for Calamar and Tink coming one. Yeah. Well, I think that also kind of introduces the idea of redemption, right? Because, like, to be a Fang is to be, like, totally devoid of good. At least as far as we understand from the beginning, like, but what does that mean for Tink? Like, well, either that's who he is or there's redemption for him, and we get to see how that looks, And that's kind of exciting, a little bit. Okay. I think that's all of the colliders fixed. I think it's about both sides of change of self. Change for the better and change for the worse. Yeah. Fangs and tools pretty much forget who they are. Tink and Pete are both pretty much fangs, but they remember who they are. Identity also ties a lot into that. I agree. It's like... It's really cool, actually. I love Andrew Peterson's style of storytelling that blends, like, deep meaning with, like, whimsical stories. There's something to it, There's something really cool to it. So, with that, all the colliders are fixed. So, we're good there. And the songs they sing to transform are definitely important. I wonder what those represent. If they represent anything, I don't know. So I know that, like, Lily has the song that she sings that has magical effects in a different way, but not, like, the Fang transforming way. Yeah, I can't get myself reading the books, but I love the series, so valid. Valid. So, with that, I think that we've gotten most of the major glitches figured out. I cannot walk through this wall anymore, which is really nice. The dragons kind of need to chill, honestly. Yeah. Well, I think that they kind of, maybe I'm bold, but like they kind of represent the other side of change, which is like, even though you might change, people might still look at you and see the person that you were. Like, bitterness, resentment, that kind of a thing. So maybe they have something that they represent too. I don't know. So one other thing that we need to fix, I'll show you right now. What you asked earlier, what I was talking about with Nostau in the Void. So if I walk into a specific room, Nostau will just teleport behind me. Usually. Like that. Whereas we want him rather to do something a little more just kind of chill. Go with the player so it looks like he was just following the same time. But I think it's because Deltarune changed how I think about the stories that I like Wingfeather Saga so much. Hold on, let me understand that sentence better. But I think it's because that Deltarune changed how I think about stories that I like the Wingfeather Saga so much. Okay. So your capacity to enjoy Wingfeather Saga was directly impacted by your gameplay of Deltarune. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. They definitely have a similar power and energy to them, I guess. They're both fun. They both have a lot of depth to them that goes beyond the obvious. Although, I think that they kind of have different flavors of it. Because Andrew Peterson is a Christian, which means that he holds that God or the Maker is ultimately a part of all of this, whereas Toby Fox, what he believes, I'm not exactly sure about all of this, but at least it's not the core of his stories. It's not what motivates them. So it's like they are substantially different in worldview, which I think is huge. But both of them use really profound storytelling and to reach these ends. I don't know. Stories are weird. They're awesome, but they're so weird. Okay, so it looks like we have everything done here. Not the core, but the church? What? It totally... Either I missed that context or just confused. In chapter 4 of the church. That part always sat a little bit weird with me. I felt like it was a cool atmosphere, but I don't really know what Toby was... Didn't quite feel like church, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just spitballing, but... Maybe we do this. Okay, yeah, that looks good. And right here's the problem maker. That block right there was falling on people during the prototyping. Glad we found that. And then this is ready. Here's the funny thing, Deltarune would be so much easier to fix than Undertale. Yeah, I feel the same way, because I think that a lot of the problems that it has is really just extra stuff. Like, I could skip through the carousel, or not the carousel scene, the Ferris wheel scene with Susie and Noelle, and I would still get a lot of the story behind it. I feel like it was just unnecessary, not necessarily even like ingrained into the story. I don't know. That's the only thing I dislike about Deltarune, is that there are just some scenes where I'm just like, did that really have to be there? You know? I mean, like, not you do what you want, but like that, I don't really like that, you know? Because like you have something huge outside of that. Why would you just throw that in there, you know? I don't know. So player placement manager, we're gonna go ahead and hop into here. So just change dialogue and it's fixed. Even the Ferris wheel can work just fine. No kidding. No kidding. It's just annoying. I feel like if it felt just unnecessary more than anything else. The story of Deltarune, there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. I like the mystery of Asriel, like I like the duality of Kristen, the player. I like a lot of that stuff. But then just like random curveballs come in of just stuff that I don't care to see. And it's not related to the story, it just feels like it's there to... I don't know. Whereas with Undertale, you'd need to change 2 scenes. Yeah, that sounds more difficult. And honestly, they put so much into them that sounds painful to change. But like, yeah, again, Deltarune is... I could see that being pretty easy to change. Okay. Let's see here. With the player placement manager, I need a reference to the partner. And a scene in the credits, yeah. Undertale had it baked in for sure. I've been really annoyed about a lot of just the... Yeah, Deltarune is simpler in a lot of respects and more polished. But I've been a little annoyed lately about a lot of the creative field lately. It just feels like I could be a cool dragon artist and enjoy the work of another cool dragon artist, but if I don't affirm homosexuality, then I'm gonna get unfollowed. The art doesn't matter. It has to be in submission to that system of belief, and I just don't. It's annoying more than anything else, because, like, I mean, art is great. God gave it as a gift, but, like, if it's just, like, either you use it to serve sin or you just totally isolate, that's just... It's a hard situation to be in. I think the evil rats don't need much of a change. Yeah, because I feel like those were, like, interesting in that, like, maybe I would have done it differently. But, like, the point of the evil rat isn't just to be, like, horrifying and bad. The point of the evil rat is to, like... Well, it's to emphasize the core message of the game, which is that your actions have consequences. And, like, maybe I wouldn't have done it as extreme, but, like, even so. Hey, that's one thing they have similar to Christianity. If we aren't fully for them, we are heartless monsters. Similar to Christianity is a stretch, I think. I mean, like, the idea of sin, right? It's hard to get by. But the idea is that everyone is a sinner, right? Like, there's no more righteous person than another. We all need Jesus. That's the core message of Christianity, and that's why he came, because he loved us and he gave himself for us. But because he gave himself for our sins, which deserved death, do we now turn and, like... We don't turn and celebrate the sin. It's like... It's hard to explain, but, like... Jesus has a way of loving us in spite of our sins and calling us into something better. That's what it's all about. And it never was about, like, calling someone off to be a heartless monster, because when you do that, that's just not how Jesus feels about people, you know? You can be washed up in the worst sin ever, and Jesus will still love you, and he'll still care for you, and he'll still save you as long as you're willing to call for him. Like, yeah, the idea isn't necessarily kid-friendliness, but Christian-friendliness for fixing it. I mean, really, all it is just love people the way Jesus loves us. And yeah, let him teach you, lead you, and whatever. And if he teaches you something that the world disagrees with, then in the end, that's the choice, is to follow Christ or to follow the world, you know? Great. Okay, I feel like this is almost enough to send in as a whole patch. We just got to make sure in our playtest central that we haven't missed anything here. So, The teleportation problem, I'm not going to fix that yet, since that will just be something that I could work on later. The camera issue, though. The camera issue is something we actually really need to work on. Oh, yeah. Oh, the last comment was talking about fixing the games. Yeah. Yeah, the idea isn't necessarily kid friendliness, but Christian friendliness for fixing it. Okay. Okay, I can see that. Modding it would be really nice, actually. I've never actually gotten into game modding, but I feel like that could be so cool. Because like there's a game that I've been playing lately called Slay the Spire 2, where you can create your own characters that you can play inside of it and give them your own cards and whatever. And I thought that would be so cool to like draw a dragon character and try that. But who knows? Also, I might leave in a bit. All right, no worries, dude. Good to have you in for a minute. Hopefully I'll be posting some more on pixel art. I've had a crazy last few weeks. And I would like to get back into drawing more dragons and stuff, but it's hard to stay dedicated to that when I have so much going on, so. I don't know, if you think about me, pray that I get some time to do cool creative stuff. That would be my idea if I ever made a channel. Dude, anything's possible as long as you're willing to learn it. Like I wasn't always able to do all this stuff. It starts with just doing it, and failing every once in a while, and then doing it again. Shoot for the stars, dude. You know. Okay. The problem is going to be in the camera resources down here. So the camera is supposed to always lock whenever we move room to room, with some small exceptions. So like this. But you can break the camera by quickly tilting yourself around or turning around at the right time. And that's not good because we want it to stay locked. So what we're going to go into is go into the scripts and change a couple of things. And that's going to be inside a camera. We're going to check camera target manager. Well, actually, we're looking at the camera control zone. Now, overridden camera target, overridden camera speed. So, the problem is that whenever we walk in, the camera locks to the zone, and whenever we walk out, it gets rid of it. No, why would that be a bad thing, though? Because it seems like it would work. Well, you can walk into a new zone without ever exiting the first zone. You can be on the borderline between two camera zones, and it would cause problems. Hold on, let's try this. If I walk on the borderline and walk out, yeah, that causes a problem. Okay, because that's... In that moment, I'm standing on both camera zones. So, in other words, this is my new active one. But I never re-enter the first one. So let's fix this. So if we're in the camera zone and we're just staying there, let's try this. So what I did is I made it so that there was like kind of a fallback where if we're in this limbo place like we were last time, where we're neither in one zone nor the other, technically speaking. It will run checks just to see, hey, even though we're not entering a new place, are we technically still standing in that place? And with that, yeah, there's no way for us to leave. Of course, there is the problem of a jitter. So let's fix this. Okay, that is weird. So I'm a little bit confused here. So let's just work through this. When I walk over here, it jitters back. This is the active zone, and then this becomes the zone. But oh wait, I think I see what it is. If I wrap these in parentheses, it should work. This check has not worked either, which is weird. Wait. So step one, which I'm assuming is touching the new zone, locks to the new zone. Step two, leaving the old one, locks out and then locks back in. I think I might know what's up with that. Possibly. Man. What else is there to do, really? Because I don't know if there's any way to fix that. I'm not exactly sure what's up with that. Or how to fix it, because it seems like when the exit happens, it immediately locks out, then locks back in. So let's try something. Private will lag catch. I feel like the script doesn't really work. So what it does is it makes sure that there's no way that for the player to break out, but in doing so, it also overreacts sometimes. I'm going to... Let's playtest this one more time. I want to fix this by the end of the stream, because I feel like this issue specifically... This issue specifically will bite me in the bum for a while if I don't fix it now, so... Enter. Exit. Alright, I think that the move here is actually going to be different. I need to make it physically impossible for the player to be in two zones at the same time. But that leads to the other issue of if the player can not be in two zones at the same time, that means that there is a possibility that he can be between the two zones, which will lead to another problem, which is that it'll lock to the middle. Which, we don't want that. We want the camera to lock only to one, without letting the player do the exploit that was reported earlier, which is where you just totally break the camera. Okay. So... as far as that fixed, though, I'm not sure what we can do. So there can only be one active camera zone at a time, and the camera zones, which are the locking mechanisms that lock the camera to specific rooms, they only trigger in certain circumstances, which is when you enter the zone and when you leave it. But that means that if you walk into the middle of the zone and enter, and then leave through the zone that you've never left, then, well, you're still... it never re-triggers the entry. Which is a huge problem. So, what do we do? I feel like we have to use on-trigger stay. Which is basically what I'm saying, every single frame that the player is inside of the room, inside of the camera zone, it triggers the stabbing. Oh heck, why not? Let's try it. I sincerely hope that this doesn't do something wild like break my computer. Because it could do a stuttery thing. Epilepsy warning. Maybe not an epilepsy warning. I'm not sure. I'm expecting the worst, but... Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. There's a little bit of it. Whenever you walk through this barrier, it kind of like shakes. And, alright, so final thing. If the other got compared quad. If there isn't an active zone. And if the cat is not walking on my keyboard. No gato. Let's make this our final playtest. After this one, we'll be done for the time being. This cat wants to walk on my keyboard for no reason. Why? Why? What do you want from me? I will give you food if you want it. Just don't walk on my keyboard. Okay, hold on. Guys, I think we did it. So, the camera will no longer break if you walk out of the zone in a certain way. Alright, well, I think this is the final bug here that we're going to deal with, at least for now. We might do more later, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let people go. So, thank you guys for coming on to the stream. If you enjoyed the project, join the Discord. My English is horrendous. What is this? I've been speaking C# for too long. Now I can't even put together simple phrases. That's fine. Thank you guys for coming in. God bless. Have a good day. We'll do more streaming hopefully this Wednesday, assuming work doesn't keep me, which I think I'm free Wednesday, actually. Oh yeah, I'm totally free Wednesday. Cool. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.